Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Bindu from Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak. Today we will be discussing on daily routine and system of housekeeping department. After completing the module, the students will be able to understand the activities, operational procedure and shift in the housekeeping day. They will learn the forms, reports and formats used to accomplish the daily routine. Students will learn the living application procedure and know the importance of the gate pass. Each work, either on small or big scale, need planning to accomplish. Identifying the steps to be carried out is essential in order to get the work done. It leads to better performance without any hindrances. Even a housemaker plans her schedule of the day in an appropriate manner just to reduce the unnecessary wastage of resources and time. The same way, a hotel does planning regarding its different operations. Department of the hotels need to go through a defined procedure the employees are supposed to follow. The housekeeping executive, floor supervisor, control desk supervisor, public area supervisor, GRAs, guest room attendants all have to perform the scheduled task to fulfill their responsibilities. The housekeeping team carries out the daily routine and the day starts with opening of the house. It has segmented the activities in 3 shifts: the morning shift, afternoon or evening shift and the night shift. Various forms and reports are prepared by the staff and they have to follow a defined procedure for availing leaves and gate pass. The housekeeping day. A hotel which is functioning well for some years, their housekeeping operations follow a set routine with the required system in place. A key concept in this daily functioning is the housekeeping day. It refers to that part of the 24 hours when housekeeping department are in full swing. For the smooth functioning of the housekeeping department, the housekeeping day is divided in 3 shifts. As it is the case operationally too, there are always required more staff for the morning shift than for the other shifts because of the workload is at its peak during the morning shift. The 3 shifts are usually as follow: the morning shift from 7 am to 4 pm, afternoon shifts 2 pm to 11 am and the night shift from 11 pm to 4 am. The daily routine may differ slightly from one hotel to the other and the shift timings may vary considerably depending on their location and the target client. A daily routine chronology for the model hotel housekeeping department might be as follows: 6 am to 8 am opening of the house, 8 am to 1 pm morning activities, also cleaning the guest room, 1 pm to 3 pm resolution of do not disturb D&Ds, 3 pm to 3:30 pm the rooms checks and 3:30 pm to 4:30 pm shift overlaps, first and second shift coordination. Opening the house is the first step in chronology of the housekeeping department day. Opening of the house refers to the daily operational whereby rooms are assigned for servicing to GRAs scheduled for the work that day. It is a supervisory activity and should be completed before the workers arrive for work. This is before 7 to 8 am. The timing may vary depending on the individual hotels and the night supervisor keeps ready the night report or the occupancy report generated at night by the front desk attendant. The night supervisor also passes on the list of arrivals and departures obtained from the front desk to the assistant housekeeper. Based on these two documents, the assistant housekeeper prepares the daily work report. The aim of referring the night report is to schedule the work according to the occupancy for the staff expected to come in the morning shift. Duties: the assistant housekeeper checks the occupancy for the day and consults the staffing guide to decide the number of the GRAs required for servicing room at the occupancy level. The assistant housekeeper now hands over a section worksheet to each floor supervisor. The section worksheet has the room numbers of the sections that the floor supervisor is responsible for and identifies their status as vacant, occupied or checkout. This sheet thus indicates the room status of the entire sections to the supervisor. This is then clipped onto the room attendant's card. Once each room has been cleaned and inspected, the floor supervisor puts a check mark against the room number on the sheet. Sample of the occupancy report and the daily work report are given below. As part of their opening duties, the supervisor takes over from the previous shift staff and checks the keys. They pursue the logbook which is used in the housekeeping department to convey information from one shift to the other. Another document consulted by the supervisor is the banquet function prospectus, also known as BFP. This gives then prior intimations of the various conferences and parties to be held in the hotel and lists the expected responsibilities of all the support departments, including housekeeping. For the same, the housekeeping responsibilities for a banquet may include providing table and decoration linen, decorative artifacts, flower arrangements and special accessories, cleaning the hall prior to and after the event, and so on. The BFP is sent well in advance to the housekeeping department to allow planning for these tasks. Morning shift. Most housekeeping departments start their daily work at about 8 a.m. The time for the start of morning activities may vary based on the abilities of the guest room attendants. To gain access to the guest rooms in commercial transient properties in which weekend packages might be offered to the families, the start of the work may be delayed until 9 a.m. or even 10 a.m. depending on how late the guests are known to sleep in. And in hotels in which business people are the major occupants, however, there are sufficient numbers of early risers to allow GRAs to start work at about 8 a.m. Such will be assumed for the morning activities in the model hotels which commence at 8 a.m. The morning shift employees punch in their cards and proceed to the locker room to change into their uniforms. Normally, the solid uniform would have been exchanged on a one-for-one basis. The previous evening employees then report to the control desk or housekeeping control. Briefing. At the beginning of the work shift, the deputy housekeeper or the executive housekeeper will hold the briefing session for all the employees. The grooming standards of the employees are checked before allocating jobs to the staff. The following may be communicated in the course of the briefing session of 10 minutes. Any VIP in the house, policies and new procedures to be followed by the staff, job allocation, immediate reporting relationship of the shift, checking for grooming standards and personal hygiene, appreciating for work well done on earlier shifts, rectification requirement, banquets or other events to be held in the hotel. Room assignment. Later, the floor supervisor hand over the room assignment sheets to the GRAs. Blank rooms assignment sheet are prepared in triplicate. Each room assignment sheet indicates the room that the GRA has to service, giving their status as indicated in the daily work report. It also lists any pickup rooms the GRA has to service apart from rooms in his or her section. The GRAs clip their sheets onto their chart before proceeding for their work. The room assignment sheets help the GRA to prioritize the servicing of the room. For example, rooms with the checkout status are usually serviced first, but if a room needs early makeup, it is given first priority even over these. Handover of keys. Once the GRA have received their rooms assignment sheets, they are handed the floor master keys for their particular floor by the deputy housekeeper. The keys are usually hung in a key cabinet at all times. Each GRA has to assign for the keys received in a key control sheets. The key cabinet should be kept locked at all the times. Each GRA has to sign for these keys received on a key control sheet. Retying the cart, the GRAs armed with the master keys and then proceed to the floor pantries on their individual floors, where they make additions and alterations to their room attendant's cart according to the room occupancy. It is to be noted that the carts are kept ready for the servicing guest rooms by the staff from the previous shift, in the case the night shift staff. Room status check. At this stage, one of the most important morning shift activities to be undertaken by the housekeeping staff is the physical checking of the room status. Hotels have varying procedure regarding which carries out this activity. The two most common are explained there. All rooms checks. The GRAs carry out a physical check of the room status and enter it in their room assignment sheets. In many hotels, the GRAs, after carrying out a physical check of the room status, relates the same to the control desk supervisor over the phone. The GRA also indicates how many guests occupy a particular room. If there is any discrepancy between the room status received from the front desk and the actual physical status of the room, the GRA should immediately inform the floor supervisor so that it can be cleared up with the front desk. A consolidated report is then generated from the information received at the control desk by the control desk supervisor. This is called the housekeeping room status report. The sample of the housekeeping room status report is as below. Vacant only check. To check the status of the room is a discrepancy report is generated by the inspections of only on change and vacant and ready rooms. The discrepancy check can be left to the floor supervisor, who may inspect only on change and vacant and ready rooms to be assured their status. Any discrepancy can be marked in this section worksheet, clipped onto the room attendant's card. All floor supervisor, after completing the physical checking of the room status in this section, convey any discrepancy to the control desk. The control desk supervisor consolidates the information received and generates the housekeeping room status report. Room services and inspection. Having collected the cards and supplies, the CGRAs now proceed to the services the guest room. As on charge rooms, normally the first priority are cleaned by the GRAs. The floor supervisor inspect the rooms and inform the control desk supervisor to release these rooms to the front office for the sale. In case a room requests some maintenance work, the floor supervisor updates the status to OOO, out of order, and informs the front desk a maintenance work order as generated, and in coordination with the maintaining department, all efforts are made to post the room status back again to vacant and ready. The room of the cleaning guest room is as follows. Guest request for early makeup EM, VIP rooms before 11 am. Checkout status rooms blocked for new arrivals. Checkout rooms, occupied rooms with please make my room sign posted. Stayovers. Rooms that had a D&D do not disturb card displayed earlier in the morning. Rooms due to move to checkout status much later in the day. In the morning, the public area supervisor inspect the public areas such as the entrance, lobby, guest corridors and elevators to determine whether any emergency attention is required due to any unwanted accident at night. In any emergency cases, the public area supervisor schedules housemen to do the job. Most rooms would have been served by the afternoon except the one that displayed a D&D do not disturb card through the morning. In the case the D&D card is still displayed on the room, the GRA should inform the supervisor. The floor supervisor then places a call on the intercom and speaks to the guest. The floor supervisor should introduce himself and ask the guest when the room may be served. In case the guests don't want their room service, it cannot be forced on them, and if the guest doesn't give an alternate time, the supervisor suggests a quick linen change. In this way, the supervisor can gain access to the room and stably check that the room is not being used for any illegal activity. It may happen that the guest has forgotten about the place D&D sign. Even if there is no answer to the GRA's knock, if he found the door pin is not out, he informed the executive housekeeper, who later informs the general manager and with his permissions can access the guest room with an emergency key and deals with the situation. Later, the stayover rooms are cleared in the afternoon. By the time afternoon, the GRAs undertake a physical check of the room status, fill in the informations on the blank duplicate of the room's assignment sheet and hand over it to the floor supervisor. The floor supervisor then submit it to the control desk supervisor. The sheets from all the GRAs are consolidated by 3 p.m. to generate the second housekeeping status report for the day, and this is passed on to the front desk. Clean up, reporting and handover. The GRAs now send all the solid linen down the linen chute, or the houseman take the solid linen to the laundry on the linen trolley. Around 3 p.m., the GRAs restock the carts for evening guest room servicing. They wash the used tooth glasses and collected during the day, dispose the trash and mix the corrected dilution of the cleaning agents, restock the hand candidates and cleaning supplies and restock linen and leave the floor pantry clean. The floor supervisor collects and files away all forms and reports, and they submit their worksheets at the control desk. The supervisor makes relevant entries in the logbook. At the same time, the afternoon shift crews is reporting for the work. There should be a shift overlap of at least an hour to facilitate handover and takeover of duties. The morning shift handover keys at the control desk, sign the key control sheet and assemble at their debriefing and going off duty. The session may include the following: discussing problem faced by any staff members, sharing any experience and inviting ideas or practical solutions to common problems, handover of any incomplete work of the staff on the next shift, checking the next day's duty roster. After debriefing, the employees of morning shift proceed to the uniform exchange counter to exchange their solid uniform for the fresh ones for the next day's work. If the morning shift begins at 8 a.m., the employees should then be free to punch their cards on their way out at 5 p.m. in a typical 9 hours straight shift scenario. Afternoon or evening shift. Around 4:30 p.m. during the afternoon shift, GRAs update the room status again by undertaking a physical check of the guest room. The third blank room assignment sheet prepared earlier is filled with the update status. Doing this again at this time is important since many changes may have taken place due to the guest check-in and check-out after 3 p.m. The check-out will now be ready rooms. The final housekeeping report based on this check is consolidated at the counter desk, tailed with the front desk, reviewed by the executive housekeeper, and then a copy is sent to the financial controller. At 4:30 p.m., a supervisor checks all guest corridors and services areas to ensure that no equipment, solid linen or trash is left behind and that the floor pantries are tidy. They read the day's entries in the logbook, and the afternoon GRAs now clean the late service request rooms and bush up rooms that have been serviced earlier in the day when they were occupied but are now vacated. The GRAs then provide the turn down services in all the occupied rooms at around 7 p.m. Any late checkout room also need to be serviced for the late servicing guest or late arriving guest or walk-in guest. Any guest requests especially made in the evening hours is also noted down on the room assignment sheet and transferred to the guest logbook. Finally, the guest request for guest loan items required in the evening are met. By 6 p.m., the front office resolves all discrepancies and the evening GRAs restock the room attendant's card in the floor pantries for the next day's work and go off duty. The night shift. For the night shift, only few staff is scheduled unless a special cleaning project is to be carried out. The night supervisor takes over from the supervisor of the previous shift. The night GRAs check the room attendants' cards, washes the drinking glasses and keeps them ready for the morning crews to place on the card. The night supervisor is responsible for filling the following documents: night report to housekeeping, collected from the front desk to open the house on the morning, originals and copies of all the daily work reports, all the section worksheets, copies of the housekeeping status reports, completed key control sheets. Night supervisors report on every activities. Early in the morning, the night supervisor collects the night report and the arrivals, departures list from the front desk to open the house. Leave application procedure. Once an employee has put in service for 240 days at a hotel, he or she is eligible for the 3 primary types of leaves that the employees can avail in a year. These are casual leaves of 12 days, sick leave for 12 days, earned or privileged leaves for 1 day per 14 working days. It may vary with the organizations to organizations. Female employees in many organizations are also eligible for maternity leaves if they are expecting a baby. In such a case, a valid doctor certificate is required. Nowadays in India also has started giving paternity leaves to fathers to be, but it is not common practices in the hotel industry. For availing leaves by the employees, if she or he has enough leaves due, the following procedure is followed. Procure a leave application form from the personnel department, fill up the form correctly, providing all the required details, and submit it to the personnel department. The personnel department forwards the application to the head of the concerned employees department for approval, and the head of the department informs the personnel department whether leave may be granted or not. The HOD sections the leaves request and inform the employees. Gate pass procedure. A gate pass is a document of validity that is made and given to an employee who is legally taking out of the hotel's premises and any of the followings: any property belonging to the housekeeping department for repair or cleaning, returnable articles, items discarded by the housekeeping department, non-returnable articles, articles auctioned out of by the housekeeping department, non-returnable articles, any gift given to the employees by guests as a token of appreciation, non-returnable articles. In all these cases, the employees needs a gate pass issued by the executive housekeeper and approved by the security department. When an employee accepts a gift from the guest, he or she should also require the guest for a letter acknowledging that the item is a gift. A gate pass is issued to the employees only after pursuing this letter. It must be noted, however, that most properties discourage employees from accompanying gift from guests. In any case, different gate passes are made out of the returnable and non-returnable articles. For the returnable articles, the gate pass is made out in triplicate. One copy is to retain by the executive housekeeper, the second copy is for the employee's own records, and the third copy for security approval. The security approval should keep track of all the articles that have to be brought back by the employees taking them out on a gate pass. In the case of non-returnable, only 2 copies of the gate pass need to be made. One copy for the security and the other for the employee. Summing up the module, the basic daily routine of the housekeeping department in hotel is discussed in detail here. The housekeeping department has to perform all the various tasks in a sequential order. The various forms and reports are prepared to better scheduling the whole housekeeping day. The day starts with the night report and the arrivals departure list being passed on from the front desk to the housekeeping department. Daily work reports and section worksheets are prepared. These activities are part of the procedure of the opening of the house. Further, the activities are divided into 3 segments according to the 3 shifts: the morning shift, afternoon or evening shift, and the night shift. The morning shift starts with briefing procedure followed by handling over the room assignment sheets and the key to the GRAs. The employees then organize their room attendance card to start servicing of the rooms. A consolidated housekeeping room status report is generated and the GRAs begin servicing the guest room. The ready rooms are then passed for the sale. Public area supervisor ensure the cleaning of the public areas. Later, the rooms that display D&D cards are dealt. During afternoon shift, the reports from the GRA and are consolidated and room status is updated. Later on, the evening and the night shift duties performed by the employees are described. Finally, the procedure for leave application and gate pass are explained. Thank you.